welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are now moving on to some matters of finance. So we are being joined this morning by Command Contour owner, coach. Yeah, we could say that, Mr. Bale Granville. And of course, so good morning and welcome to you. And you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what is Command Contour.
Hi, good morning. So a little bit about myself. Of course, I'm a son of the soil, grew up in Tobago. I'm probably better known for being a musician than anything else in Tobago. And went abroad. Also a civil engineer because I'm the one that set out the Dwight York Stadium, and then went abroad and did some study in civil engineering. But while abroad, I was introduced to investing and the world of finance, and started to learn, and eventually started to teach for an American company, which I did for about 4 years or so. And this was teaching the trading and trading online, forex trading in particular. And then eventually I decided to break away from that and start teaching on my own, create an academy of my own, and also create some software that will help individuals learn how to trade. But I think the biggest thing is really seeing individuals and traders struggle in the financial markets, and then because of the struggle and being pretty desperate for money or to try and get ahead, they approach things in the wrong way. They fall for scams and schemes, people promising them the world. And we want to educate Tobagonians about this, how to spot these things, what to do, what not to do in terms of their own personal finances, and then how to approach things in the right way when it comes to trading.
Now, of course, and as you mentioned, we've had quite a lot of scams within this space. It seems as though every month there's something new popping up. Tell me a little bit about what we should be looking forward to in terms of spotting what are scams, and knowing that, hey, this might be something that might be a good thing to invest in.
All right, so the first thing is the promise of very crazy returns. So there is a good book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And the richest man in Babylon says, gold flees the hand of those who pursue it or push it to outrageous returns. Such a fantastic book to read if you're interested in finances anyways. But that's one of the things. So when somebody is saying, oh, give me your money and then we will give you a 10% return or a 20% return in a space of a month, and that will be compounding over time. You just leave your money in, you could put money back in, and it may work for a little while, but then eventually it all goes to none. I mean, and we've seen it, the cash effects of this world and all of these other things that show up.
I mean, in terms of things like Bitcoin and that sort of thing that still continues to, be in our space.
Well, I mean, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are in and of their own something slightly different. Bitcoin in itself is sort of a decentralized cryptocurrency, and that is okay, but of course it's still pretty much still trying to be accepted by the bigger picture or the bigger fish, meaning hedge funds, or meaning the regulators in the US. But for the most part, Bitcoin has been around for a little while, and I think it sort of stood the test of time, and people are invested in it. I mean, that's why the price is where it's at the moment, in terms of, like, I think it's about 40,000 and something plus US for one Bitcoin, where it started at cents when it eventually started when the recession hit in 2009. So Bitcoin is okay, but again, you've got to be careful because there are people who would say, all right, well, give us your money, we will invest in Bitcoin for you, and this is the type of returns that you're going to get. All promises, but shallow promises at best.
how do you know in terms of which avenues that you should take for investment? Because, a lot of times, some of these things are attached to, you need to have a U.S. account. And a lot of people, we do not have access to U.S. accounts. Our banks don't necessarily allow us the same freedom as other banks would internationally.
Yeah.
So how do we be able to navigate those challenges and make sure that we're not falling for someone scamming us out of the money in the process?
Well, you know what? This is a very sad situation in Trinidad and Tobago. Because of the bank's restrictions, then people are forced into the scams and schemes, unfortunately. But I would say, in terms of spotting the or what is truth from what is not truth, first you've got to have people who are regulated by or if you're going to give your money to people, put it that way, you've got to give your money to people who are regulated, who are either qualified as investors to be able to take investments from people. And also, if you're dealing with brokerages, if you're doing trading yourself, then you have to put your money into regulated brokers. And we're going to touch a bit more on that and explain a bit more on that in our session this afternoon that we're going to have at the Scarborough Library at 6:30 p.m. But if you're coming or a family member is coming to you, or a friend is coming to you and saying, hey, just put your money into this and look at how much money I've made, then you want to really question that a bit, because everybody wants to see a bit of a return on their money. You put your money into the banks, and if you get 1%, you're lucky. But personally, I believe that you should learn how to trade yourself and learn how to navigate the markets yourself. And even if you realize, okay, well, potentially this is not for me, at least you come from an educated position, so that you could make a decision, say, okay, well, I can't do this myself, but I would want to give the money to somebody else who will be able to do it for me. And this somebody else would be somebody who is professionally qualified to trade on your behalf. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody professionally qualified. It could be somebody that you really trust or so, but they are limited in terms of the amount of money that they could actually take from people. Well, within the UK where I'm at, you could potentially take from family members up to about 10 people, but then after that you've got to be registered. Okay, in Trinidad and Tobago could be slightly different. But yeah, that's how I would encourage people to do it. But come from a place of education, and we've created sort of a platform that allows people to get the right education onto how to navigate these markets appropriately. Because again, you could go onto YouTube, you could type in learn how to trade, and all sorts come up. But I could tell you now from the jump, what they're teaching you on YouTube is not even close to what you're supposed to learn in terms of trading.
And not only that, being able to navigate that within the restrictions that we have here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I'll tell you, in terms of navigating the craziness and the nonsense, I think I've gone through enough of it for everybody. That's why I can say, no, we can't go in that direction. This is the direction that we need to go into. And that comes from when I first initially started, just putting money into trading accounts, going to certain trading academies and learning and just blowing up those accounts left, right, and center. And eventually I had to step back and take a stock of, my approach to the whole trading. And I had to then do courses from people who were more professional in the markets. And I got those training from professional people. Over the years, I had probably about 3 coaches who traded professionally. And when I say professionally, they had license, they managed millions of money or US dollars, had traded for institutions rather than trading at home. So you were able to see the difference between their approach as opposed to somebody who was at home or somebody who is teaching you on YouTube to approach the markets. And what I'm doing now is what I've learned from these institutions, I'm now teaching it to people at home so that they could approach things in the right way.
Now, as we're wrapping up our conversation this morning, I would just like you to tell me a little bit about why, just in a minute, tell me why you are choosing to share some of your knowledge this afternoon at the library.
Well, the reason why is that I've just been hit very hard in terms of not approaching trading in the right way, so lost a lot of money. But not only that, saw a lot of friends lose a lot of money. And one of the heartbreaking calls that I got last year was a lady saying, hi coach, but they call me coach. Say, hi coach, I see that you've got a new program and I really want to get on board because I've purchased this trading bot and I've put it on my account and I lost 50,000 worth of my life savings. So I have to start all over again. And I just don't want that for my people in Tobago. So I really want them to get the education that is necessary to make the right decisions and to protect their finances.
And you're going to get that education when and where?
So we're going to start and give you an introduction to how you could do that at the Scarborough Library this afternoon, 6 p.m. at the library auditorium.
All right, great. I want to thank you so much, Coach, for being on with us and for sharing with us what is to come for your seminar. And of course, viewers, if you are interested in learning about finance a bit more, especially trading, well, this is one place where you can go and find out a bit more. So thank you for being here with us. And of course, viewers, thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.